Radio Free Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 764. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
There's a lot of news to get through. The New York Comic-Con panels, I should say, happened this past week. I have to admit, I wasn't sure what was going to occur with this, given that it was New York Comic-Con metaverse pairing with like London Comic-Con or something. And I thought, oh, okay, just another online convention with this bunch of Zoom meetings and stuff. But it appears that there were some substantial stuff to be talked about, which we'll do on this podcast, which also features the second part, our continuation of our Series 12 commentaries with episode 2 of Series 12, Spyfall Part 2. With our friend Kim Rogers, so that's coming up later in the podcast. We may talk about Sacha Dhawan once or twice. He might get a mention occasionally in the commentary later on in this episode. If you listen closely for it, you can just about make it out. But so that's coming here. Chris, you laughed at something. I need to know what you were laughing at when it comes to.
I don't know. I don't remember because you just kept blathering.
I did because I wanted.
Wow.
Well, if I don't mention right off the top what the feature item on the podcast is, I will.
You're gonna forget. I know.
You know how it is. You know how it is, right?
You have the memory of a hamster. I realize.
I don't have a memory. I just have the momentum of a hamster rolling down a hill, a particularly slippery hill.
Well, that would be
So
that would be
helpless
lots
and
of
confused.
momentum, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. I know. It's like I just got to keep going. And then the hamster gets to the bottom of the hill and says, "Oh, by the way,
Is the hamster in its exercise wheel or just on its own?
Probably actually in this scenario, probably in the exercise wheel because I haven't seen hamsters roll a lot. It must be said, but
This might be our weirdest diversion yet.
you'd think that. You'd think that. Just wait later on in this podcast for some untold thing that will happen.
Hamster physics, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's that or CFL talk. So I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to do that. You know what I did actually? Harry, let's go on a diversion because I have nowhere else to talk about anything in life apart from this podcast. So I stumbled on. So for the first time ever, 3 or 4, I don't know when it was, 2020, right? I watched the film version of 12 Angry Men, 1957. Henry
great show.
Fonda. Never saw it before.
Great show.
And it's an old movie, and Erica sort of says, "Oh, let's maybe you'll enjoy it. Let's see." And I really did. I really did rather enjoy it. It is based on. So the movie is third in the list of things. It became a stage play, but before that, it was a live television version from 1954, and I stumbled on it on YouTube. It had been. Because it was recorded live, and they thought it was lost forever. But in 2003, they found the telerecording that they'd used to play it back on the West Coast 3 hours later. And they found it only in 2003. So basically, it was a missing episode.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. And so it's fascinating because it's a live TV production and you can see like the big camera, like sometimes they creep into shot here once or twice. And just like, as a fan of like archive television and just how it was made in those days, I just got some serious Doctor Who vibes basically from watching this live television show. And then like they would, for the acts in each of the 3 plays, they would break in for live advertisements for Westinghouse appliances. And it was, yeah, it was a pretty cool thing. So
My version of this is I finally saw The Last Waltz, the Scorsese concert for the band, which I'd never seen before. And Jenny's a big fan of the band, so we watched it. And through the whole thing, I'm nerding out at the odd shot that I see another camera. I'm like, oh, that's an area. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's that. But then I read the Wikipedia entry, which is great because the reason they have muddy waters in it is Scorsese being Scorsese. He just decided, I'm going to storyboard this whole thing. You're going to storyboard a concert movie. Okay, go for it. Then, surprise, surprise, a live event didn't turn out to go with that. So he's yelling at everybody to like reset their mags. So they've got new film in, and Laszlo Kovacs is sick of listening to him. So he just takes his communications gear off, and he just kept shooting. So he's the only guy with a shot of Muddy Waters singing this iconic song because he wasn't listening to the director, which I thought was hilarious.
Wow, a cameraman revolt essentially, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Is why you have this amazing footage of Muddy Waters singing.
Yeah.
Also, Stephen, thank you for finding that Pink Floyd doing The Wall live 1980 in Earl's Court.
Right? Yeah. It was like,
the video
like
is horrible, but I mean, what do you expect?
Oh no, it's great because it's horrible, because it's a pro shot, but it's videotape, right? So like this is what this is where we're at this week. All right, everyone, we're in archive television videotape, and so it's not like it's a pro shot concert. I don't know what it was for. Like it wasn't intended for DVD or like VHS or film because it's on videotape. So I'm guessing there was probably a screen in the arena that they would take. They only played that show, I think, in 5 different places over 31 shows. Because I know that there's a Led Zeppelin concert from 1975, the full video of which exists, also from Earl's Court. Because there's a big video screen, and it was basically just a recording of the output of that. And I think that's probably what that videotape was. But it's cool. It's cool seeing that in the context, like just after that album came out. So,
yeah. It's rather than like live in Berlin 10 years later, which is still phenomenal, but not. It's a different beast.
It's a different beast altogether. So yeah, that's our tangent this week. Archive television and videotape and Earl's Court and live TV. And it was difficult to find a Doctor Who connection other than old TV and old cameras and stuff. I don't think anyone from Doctor Who related media appears in The Last Waltz, as far as I know. Fighting hard for a connection there, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. So.
Oh, well.
No, certainly no 12 Angry Men connections.
No, I know.
That
I
I'm
don't
aware
think
of.
there are. No, probably not, because, different countries and all that. So without further ado, let's just park the tangent and get on with the New York Comic Con news, which is there's a panel on the Thursday, which talked about the previous 2 series of Doctor Who. It was pre-recorded and stuff. I raise that as a point because
it was edited so significantly.
It was edited, but you could tell because whenever they were doing quick little clips of Jodie Whittaker saying, "Hey, come and check out the panel," like this was like 2 weeks ago. She was wearing the exact same outfit with the same headphones in the same room. So that was the first giveaway. But what's notable about it is because Jodie Whittaker at some point during the thing, she says we hope to be beginning production by the end of the year. So at that time, when they were recording the panel, that was perhaps certainly the case. They were certainly in pre-production at the time. There are rumors that they were shooting, apparently, but then Cardiff might not be in a place to shoot things right now because of the global pandemic that we're currently in.
Global pan what now?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you heard this.
This is news.
I just haven't gone outside for 6 months.
Well,
so,
keep doing that.
I know there was a pandemic.
Oh, well, joking aside, just keep doing that. Just stay indoors.
Yes, sir.
For the panel, I don't know if either of you cats watched it or not.
I did.
Nope,
watch the panel.
I did not.
I was the best part, I think, was Bradley Walsh for 2 main reasons. Number one, he's done so little press for the show that it's just nice to see him participate.
Right.
And number two, the level of excitement on his face, and a lot of times, was just palpable. Like he seemed like a little kid, and it was really, really cute.
And it was he was like a late addition because it was really just billed as
it's supposed to be just Jodie and Mandic,
Jodie Whittaker, and also nope, Bradley Walsh is going to be there. So obviously he had nothing else on the go and wanted to turn up for it. And he also plugged the next season of it's going to be spectacular.
I was going to bring that up as well, as in it makes it seem he's there.
Yeah, I know. The rumor is that perhaps Ryan and Graham are leaving at the end of the Christmas special, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, that more high-pitched your voice is, the less likely this happen.
I know. But we'll see. Anyway, it's a fun little panel, as you say, edited. I
was hopeful we would get a trailer for Revolution of the Daleks, but we didn't.
No.
But as you're, I'm sure, about to say as I cut you off, we got a couple of promo pics.
2 promo pics of Jyoti in her cell in a outfit. They also
she looks like she just stepped out of the shower and threw a housecoat on, kind of thing.
Well, she's in prison.
I hope
she's in
so.
space prison.
Shut up!
I saw. We don't have the link in the description, but I did see that there's already a T-shirt made of basically.
Oh God! Yes, there is. I saw that on the Doctor Who merchandise site.
Yeah.
It's a Forbidden Planet thing or something, probably.
Yeah.
I also saw many people complaining that there was no trailer. Surprise, surprise! Doctor Who fans are perturbed about something.
It's stunning. If so, what I mean, sure, 2 pictures. But if they would have had a teaser, they says, "Oh, doesn't show anything. Where's the trailer?" If they had a trailer, it's like, "Oh, well, it doesn't look like anything." Okay, well,
I was
full
looking at Time Hop the other day.
Yeah,
and back in 2013, with
dear,
because around this time in 2013, the other day was the iTunes whatever release of
October 9th,
Enemy of the World and Web of Fear, and there's a tweet that I must have retweeted, I guess, but from Chip talking about how at Comic-Con in July that year there was a trailer shown for stuff, Day of the Doctor, I'm assuming. And it was asked of the crowd to not say anything. It's like, keep it quiet. This is a Comic-Con exclusive and only for your enjoyment, your eyes, whatever. And then all the press leaks happened about the missing episodes before their official announcement. And Chip was lamenting how the professional media were less able to keep a secret than an entire 4,000 person room at Comic-Con.
It's not the professional media's job to keep a secret, for one thing.
No. If there's professional media at the probably the reason we heard about the thing is
it's their job not to.
Yeah.
So, speaking as a professional media person myself,
when there was, I think there were like embargoes, like you can't talk about.
Yeah, okay. If there's an embargo, that's an agreement. But saying please doesn't count.
No, but the please worked, and the embargo didn't.
I suppose. So. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, it was happy news, though. That's the thing,
Yeah, I'm getting bitter about nothing here.
Yeah. Also, the trailer. The trailer, as we did back 7 years ago, the trailer at Comic-Con was not complete. It was not a complete.
And I couldn't find it. I remember I was on this quest, and I just could not find it.
I remember that too. Yeah.
So fair enough.
Yeah. So no trailer, but listen, it's early October. The thing's coming out over the holidays. There's still 2 months to go, folks.
The in the panel, in the interview, whatever.
Call it a panel. For the sake of argument, it's a panel. Yeah.
When the promo pics were brought up, there was context added to them, and so there's some more information about the plot for Revolution of the Daleks now out there than there was a few days ago.
There's Daleks in it.
Yeah.
And a revolution of some sort.
Yeah.
Quelle surprise.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, apparently the fam sans the Doctor have to encounter a Dalek and have to figure out how to deal with it without the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because we haven't much had that. I mean, we kind of had that as a peripheral thing, but not as a main plot line.
I know. I'm kind of intrigued by this. So perhaps the Dalek will not be where the Doctor is in the prison, but where the fam are back on Earth.
Possibly.
Tune in to Doctor Who on BBC America and blah blah blah, and on around the holidays. They still don't know if it's going to be Christmas Day but they also did announce BBC America will be doing their normal holiday programming schedule, i.e. set it and forget it, so we don't have to come in and do things. And it's just a week-long Doctor Who marathon running from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. So think about that. Have they always done it like from between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, or leading up to Christmas Day? I don't remember.
Can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Because we don't have BBC
I think it depended upon when the holiday special aired.
Yeah.
Which I think was usually, well, obviously Christmas Day, but I mean, usually
not this quick. We certainly don't get a trailer by now.
No, we're talking about BBC America showing their Doctor Who marathon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, if they've announced that they're doing the marathon between Christmas and New Year's, that leads me to think that this is going to be a New Year's Day broadcast.
Me too.
like resolution, but I don't know. And if other rumors are to be believed, if this goes out on New Year's Day, it might be the only 2021 Doctor Who that we get.
Speaking of marathons, may I just complain about CTV Sci-Fi, which I sprang for finally. I'm like, I go through the list and I'm like, oh, every day is a marathon of a certain show they've picked. And that's it. That's all they've got. Today is TNG Day. Today is Deep Space Nine Day. Today is Voyager Day. Oh, well, CTV Sci-Fi, great work, guys.
Right.
Keep it up.
And they're 3 tweets a week, basically saying, "Hey, this is a thing. Maybe watch that. We scheduled this tweet."
They should just call it rights retention CTV.
I know. I've complained about the lack of.
We paid for the stuff. We got to broadcast it somewhere.
Like, was Space perfect? No. Did they try? Yes, they absolutely.
They gave it a try. I know. Yeah. I mean, we've lamented about this in the past about how Space, there was a certain personality to covering the shows that they had, and ever since it was like, not only like we sort of thought that CTV Sci-Fi was like a drab name, and it turns out that it's not only a drab name, but also like they treat it like it's drab, like it's just like there it is, watch it.
The thing about Space, because it was this little nerd corner of stuff, is it was kind of the last gasp of what Much Music did in the 80s and 90s, where Much Music, you could do, Moses Neimer, for all his faults, said to people, we have no money, but you can do, as long as you don't break any broadcast rules, anything you want to put it on TV. And you got a lot of amazing stuff because of that. And Space was kind of the last outpost of that still happening, and now it isn't anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but the internet has a lot of people doing that themselves, so I guess that balances out, I suppose.
It's been far too long since we've had him on the show. But a friend of the show, Mark Asquith, who producer at Space, created Prisoners of Gravity, which was. Where outside of maybe like PBS would you ever see a show like that where they're discussing literary works and whatnot?
It just it's all algorithms now and stuff. I'm just yelling.
Sadly, is
just yelling
Watch
at
your
the
PewDiePie
industry.
and shut up, kids.
Yeah. Okay, that's dated, but. Or if you're on YouTube, watch recordings of 1954 live teleplays and Pink Floyd concerts.
Actually, watch Prisoners of Gravity on YouTube from time to time.
There it is. That's the best place for it. It's the best place for it. Or hey, watch Yoda Savings and Load. Just saying, they're out there.
Watch some old hockey games, right?
Yeah, exactly. Also, at over the course of this weekend, New York Comic Con, we're recording this on Sunday, which is a good thing because there was even a panel today. But the Time Lord Victorious panel with various people, and they mostly talked about Daleks, actually, the new animated 6-part series premiering November 12th. Was a big part of that. Nick Briggs was there. James Goss in a dark basement was on the panel. He's the writer, of course, and perpetrator of all this. Executive producer as well. So there was a panel for that and a whole bunch of stuff about Daleks coming out and with the trailer for Daleks and like a clip and stuff, and the Mechanoids are back and everything, and that's pretty way cool.
That's the best part, the Mechanoids.
Yeah, Mechanoids are in this thing. So
who are these other robots? I'm not sure who they are. They look like the robots of death, but with pillars.
They're new robots to the thing, because you can create new stuff too with Doctor Who, and presumably that's what
are you
they
talking
are.
about?
I think one of them's. I think they're voiced by Anjali Mohindra actually too, so she's involved. So that's the thing that came out, and also
before you jump on, on the tangent of animation, for those who haven't seen, there's a Nickelodeon-based Star Trek show called Prodigy, where it was announced that Kate Mulgrew is back as Janeway for that.
And that's not a wacky fun times one like Lower Decks. It's more of an adventure show, right? I think.
It's for Nickelodeon.
Looked up. That's the Lower Decks season finale was really good.
Apparently, it was really good.
It was really good. I mean, I know both of you guys, one of your biggest gripes with the show is all the reliance on.
No, Chris. I actually like Lower Decks. In fact, I made a Badgie action dolly, and then taunted the CBS legal team over it. So there you go.
So maybe that was just you then, Stephen.
Yep.
Your dislike of their reliance on other Star Trek properties to build their stories.
Well, they're kind of supposed to make fun of it, so I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that in the season finale, but it's just really good. So I don't know much about Prodigy yet. I haven't actually looked anything up about it. But
no, I haven't either.
I just noticed that there's a little interview with Alex Kurtzman and her and a couple of the writers. I know your favorite person, Alex Kurtzman.
He's doing Star Trek. I'm going to begin a public panel and try to get Anthony Horowitz to be the new showrunner of Star Trek, even though, like he has with Doctor Who, he has showed no inclination of doing so. But that's not going to stop me.
I like how I'm supposedly the curmudgeon, but you're the one who actually hates more stuff.
When it comes to Star,
I think you're just more passionate about it, Warren.
Don't start that argument.
Possibly.
Yeah, you hate.
Well, it might be
hate
neck
more
and neck
things.
here.
But
you hate more things in general.
That's true.
My dislikes are more targeted. Anyway,
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
I was just going to say I found it interesting that through the thing, she was introduced as playing Captain Janeway, even though Janeway was shown as an admiral in other stuff.
Get on it.
I don't know where things are set in the timeline though.
Well, I think maybe what happens.
I haven't looked it up.
Maybe she gets demoted like Kirk did at the end of Voyage Home and becomes a captain again. Because, as Kirk said, never don't let them promote you because then you're just stuck behind a desk.
Did she steal
all day.
Voyager to go save Tuvok, who is died on the Genesis planet too?
No, she went to save Harry Kim.
No one would do that.
Never bothered.
No one would save Harry Kim. No. Maybe she stole the Voyager to kill Harry Kim.
Oh.
And that's how you get led to this new children's show on Nickelodeon.
That's it. You're the new showrunner.
Prodigy.
And he wasn't even part of the Maquis.
Nope. Also, the Maze Theory, the video game people, because that's what they do. They make stuff. They had a panel this morning, which is why I mentioned this. And they announced 2 video games coming. One for mobile, which is coming in spring of 2020. They're both coming in spring of 2021. It's called the Edge of which one's the
Lonely Assassins.
Lonely Assassins, all about Weeping Angels and stuff. Stars Ingrid Oliver, of course, plays Osgood. She's in that. So there's a trailer and information for that in the news list, as well as The Edge of Reality, which is based on the VR game, which no one could go to because of COVID, because of the pandemic, as we earlier mentioned, and broke the news about in this podcast. There's a console game coming also in the spring of 2021 for that. So look at that, featuring Jodie Whittaker and David Tennant by the looks of it, and Cybermen and Daleks. That one's a little less concrete in terms of its details and stuff. But another console, Doctor Who re-enters the console game market.
Although it's coming out next year for PS4 and Xbox, presumably One. So maybe it's a little cheaper than most, which is good. I mean, maybe it doesn't make it a bad game. It just doesn't make it a top tier title.
Yeah.
Maybe they've paid for a developer's license or SDK for those and not for the new stuff yet.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, there's all sorts of behind the scenes shenanigans I'm not aware of.
Yeah. So yeah, a host of Doctor Who stuff coming out of the old New York Comic Con thing. So that's kind of exciting and stuff. Of course, all of it is like into the future, perhaps well into the future, because nothing good happens in 2020. We have to wait for everything.
Well, except maybe November 3rd, please. There I go, getting political.
Yeah. Also, regarding Time Lord Victorious, there are some tie-in stuff for that as well. There's a Blu-ray release of classic stories from the modern series and the classic one, which tie in, I guess, to the whole Time Lord Victorious
there's
thing.
Stories that they kind of like loosely are. I mean, obviously they can write whatever narrative they want for Time Lord Victorious, but they're stories that kind of play into the plot line. So like Genesis,
it's a good selection of stories,
of course.
Yeah,
no, it is.
So this is a compilation.
Daleks.
Yeah, well, it's intriguing. Like I don't know the full storyline of Time Lord Victorious, which is more or less just started. But the fact that the stories are these: Planet of the Daleks, Genesis of the Daleks. Okay, because there's Daleks in there. The Deadly Assassin, interesting. State of Decay, what?
Vampires.
Oh, vampires. Curse of Fenric, also vampires. Or hemivores, if you will. The Runaway Bride. Fenric. The Runaway Bride.
Maybe it's robots.
Maybe it's the Arachnos, perhaps, and and the Waters of Mars, which I think
Runaway Bride is where she says you need somebody to stop you. So maybe that's where they're going from that.
Well, Waters of Mars is where the phrase "Time Lord Victorious" originated.
That's a good point. So, and the Waters of Mars. So I haven't watched the Waters of Mars in a long time, and it's really good.
It's excellent.
It is. Well, I watched it when I bought the Tenant Blu-ray set, whenever that was, and it still holds up far and away the best of that That specials year.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, those are coming out November 9th. If you don't have those on Blu-ray, you can get them. You can get a whole pack. Or if you just want to collect all the Time Lord Victorious stuff, buy that, pop it in the shelf right next to all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
I never even thought about / realized that. But yeah, even the classic stories are all out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I did look. Thinking, what the hell? Oh, are they going to actually remaster? No, they're already ones that are already done for Blu-ray. So I wonder
10,
if that
12,
informed
14,
their
18,
selection.
26.
Yeah, like if there was there's something from maybe we should put the Invasion of Time. It's not on Blu-ray yet. Let's wait. Yeah. So they didn't put that on.
Yeah.
But,
that poses a good question. What stories could have been included that weren't because they're not yet out on Blu-ray?
Who knows? Who taps?
I don't know when we're going to get a season 15 Blu-ray, but I think that's probably one of the lower. 17 is probably lower demand.
17 has City of Death, and
17 does have City of Death.
Any
right.
Blu-ray that has City of Death on it is going to be up there for.
Yeah.
Plus, you can throw Shot out there again, and anyway, as we speculate, I can't wait. I can't wait for the next Blu-ray set.
Well,
damn it.
it's like we would always say about the DVD release back in the day about when title X or Y or Z got announced. It's like, we know they're all coming. So does it matter when it happens?
Yeah, we want them
or
now.
which order? No.
Yeah, we want them now.
Nerds want everything right away.
Yeah.
And by nerds, I mean
I want the Space Pirates animated so we can get a season 6 box set.
I want the Space Pirates in claymation.
I want the Space Pirasts obviously real.
Well, we're going to talk a little more about the Space Pirates in a few minutes. So
are we really?
We
Could
are.
this be? That's exciting.
So let's. I'm just going to throw us back on track and
thank you
go
very
back
much
to the Time Lord Victorious stuff for.
Yeah, there's
genetics
also
of the Daleks.
That's a great play on words, I have to say.
Which is almost like Genesis if you look at it too closely. Anyways, because it's Tom Baker in there. Tom Baker's in this thing. It's a full
Tom
cast.
Baker joins Time Lord Victorious. Yeah,
he does. Genetics of the Daleks.
I just like how it's created in partnership with Escape Hunt, the folks behind the Doctor Who Escape Room.
Yeah, like
Dalek Awakens.
What does that mean? It's an audio drama. What does that mean?
It's kind of an intriguing collaboration.
Yeah. How does it tie in?
Maybe you walk around your neighborhood and it says there are Daleks behind that door. Dare you go in? Probably not.
One thing, okay, so this hasn't happened yet, and I don't think I'm breaking any new ground by saying this, but if they need to take this whole escape room motif,
right,
and just change it to something AR based, because they could do some amazing stuff with augmented reality.
I don't know much about augmented reality, so I will take your word for that.
Basically, it's like use your smart device and its camera, and it'll insert things that aren't actually there.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
I've only ever really seen those in iPhone demonstrations at iPhone.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. But imagine if Who Framed Roger Rabbit was real.
Oh, that'd be
the animation mixed in with live.
You could do that at this point. Real. Do you want to though?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I can't imagine.
This is why we have Nazis on Twitter. That's that sort of thinking. Of course. Why? What could possibly go wrong with Twitter? Everybody can talk about what they like.
I can't imagine there aren't, at least several AR projects related to Doctor Who out there in development.
Wasn't there one with a TARDIS thing? You could have a TARDIS go through space or something. It rings a faint bell.
I can't recall.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not that. Genetics. See, I'm doing it.
Genetics.
Genetics of the Daleks.
I've got bad genetics. That. No, wait.
Octogenarians of the Daleks.
Yeah. But James Goss is sort of involved. He there's a quote here in the Big Finish press release. It says it's thrilling to see the Fourth Doctor blunder into Time Lord Victorious, encountering the last survivor of the Dalek Time War. Blah blah blah. The script works brilliantly as a standalone story, but also expands Time Lord Victorious universe and sets up a Dalek Awakens escape room. It's full of clues for both, so it ties into the escape room a little bit.
Oh yeah,
so.
Okay.
That's how that goes. That's coming out December 10th. It has people like Pippa Haywood, Clive Mantle, Clive Mantle was in Robin of Sherwood. Maybe they couldn't say that in their press release. It says Alien 3 in Game of Thrones, but he's also Little John in Robin of Sherwood. He was fabulous in that. And then Nina Toussaint White, who of course was played Mel's in Let's Kill
Hitler.
So she's in that too. So yeah, that's coming out December 10th. And as you can see, like the artwork and everything is very much not in keeping with the standard Big Finish stuff. So it's because it's to do with Time of Victoria. So there, that stuff is happening. Also, hey, let's go through Amazon and look for things that are coming your way.
What a fun treat that'll be.
Yeah, Fury from the Deep still on target for October 20th here in North America, even though the cover art isn't there yet. It still says artwork TBC.
Yeah.
It said that for like literally a year. So like until that thing shows up on my door with the proper artwork, I'm not believing it's coming. But
I just want you and you alone, you specifically, to get a copy of Faceless Ones, and it's just a black paper insert, and it just says artwork
great.
TBC on it.
yeah.
That'd be a special
not
collector's
like
edition.
It's not like a copy of like Smell the Glove or anything like that. It's like
It'd actually have writing on it.
Yeah, I would actually have writing on it. 3 things coming your way. The May 6th, 2021. Everything's coming to 21, folks. Just listen. Park it for 2020. Nothing good is going to happen for the rest of 2020. There's no reason to go outside.
Please.
Stay inside, apart from to vote, if you're in the United States or anywhere else, really.
Or BC.
Anything is coming in 2021, such as this. The Doctor Who, the Lost TV Episodes Collection 5, probably the last one because it has all the second Doctor TV audio soundtracks from the last 5, the Enemy of the World, which is now found. But the Web of Fear, how long has this been in planning? Thinking, let's put the Enemy of the World and Web of Fear on audio because that's how people like to listen. Oh, they found them 7 years ago? Damn. Anyway, they're out there. Fury from the Deep, Wheel in Space, The Invasion, and The Space Pirates. All the audio soundtracks are coming out on one big giant release. Also included are high-quality scans of the telesnaps and, maybe not telesnaps, the camera scripts, so you can follow along at home.
Even if these things are semi-restored or found, it's still good to have.
It is. Oh yeah, I'm not poo-pooing the release in any way, but it's just, there's some stuff that you can actually watch now. Actually, a lot of this. Fury from the Deep is the only one that doesn't exist in its entirety on this thing, but
you can buy it in the UK.
As
the animated one.
That's true. Which we'll get probably
in 2021.
2021, the magical year.
Yeah,
when everything happens.
Obviously, we never watched Faceless Ones, which also aired on BBC America this past week in connection with the New York Comic Con thing. I think that's what they were sort of trying to tie it into. They aired it over two consecutive nights, which is why we had the DVD release so late, because it had to air on BBC America. So thanks again, BBC America. It's great. It's great that you do that.
Those commercials coming.
Yeah. Doctor Who and the Underworld, the novelization of the classic Fourth Doctor story by Terrence Dicks, the late, great Terrence Dicks. That's coming out also on May 6th, 2021. Who's reading that one, I wonder? Do we know anything about that? I don't think we do.
I don't.
But I'd like to praise the and the.
Yeah, because that's what it said.
That's what the Target book was.
Yeah, that's how
I know. I just like Target books to say it, and I also like that nerds get angry when people say Doctor Who and his name, and they, that's not how it was. I'm like, who cares? It's funny. It doesn't matter.
I know. That one's coming out also May, and then June 3rd sees the novelization of Arc of Infinity, unabridged, as read by Jeffrey Beavers, who is not in the story but reads it. So that's coming. So there you go. So 3 BBC audio Doctor Who related things coming in spring of 21. God, I hope things are better by the spring of 2021.
I just want to hear the reading of The Doctor, or Omega, was covered in Rice Krispies. I mean, Scott.
Yeah. Also, some other little bit of tat here before we get on to the commentary for Spyfall Part 2 with Kim Rogers. The Roger Delgado biography, I am usually referred to as The Master. It came out, I don't know when, a while back from Phantom Publishing on hardback. It is now available in paperback, so you can get it. Links to the show notes. It's only £12.99, so you can order it on paperback if you prefer the paperback, which many people do. Yeah, but Roger Delgado and a couple other things. This is I just want to talk about the thing because it's a tangible thing. Delia Derbyshire, The Myths and Legendary Tapes. It's the psychoacoustic exploration of electronic music pioneer Dealey Derbyshire time travels. Blah blah blah. This is what the thing is. I saw a trailer for it and I think I don't know what this movie is. It's kind of weird. It's like, is it like kind of a drama in a way where like someone's listening to the tapes and
or is it like a mix of it, like a docudrama or something?
Yeah, I haven't watched the trailer yet.
No,
I only heard about this like last night. So it's a late addition to the news list. But I've been meaning to watch the trailer when I get the time.
Well, give it a shot. It's an interesting thing. I don't quite know what to make of it, but it's going to be available on the BFI player on October 15th until October 18th. So you got like a 3-day window to watch it. You got to buy a ticket for it. You got to be a member of the BFI. So we're further getting down into the rabbit hole of people who can actually access this. And I don't even know if it's available outside of the UK. So there's your caveats, but I hope this sees perhaps a wider release for people that don't have access to all this. But it's an intriguing thing. I'm intrigued by what this project is. So links in the show notes so you can read about it more. And finally, there's a new show out called Brave New World, which I think is on Amazon Prime in this part of the world, but it's on Sky One and Now TV in the UK. It's based on Aldous Huxley's book.
Yes, his book. Yes.
Is Buick, which is about a detective who solves crimes in his spare time. I have no idea what it's about.
Not anything like that.
It's not that. But Grant Morrison is the showrunner, and he at the end of this article, this interview about it, he basically says that he loves Doctor Who. He's always loved Doctor Who.
He used to write for the comics.
He used to write for the comics, in the 1980s, you said? Before? Yeah.
Yeah.
He says that, how come no one has asked Morrison to write an episode of Doctor Who, given his history of inventive storytelling with big ideas? And he says, quote, well, it kind of did happen. I did pitch a couple, but it didn't work out. One of these days, I've got a whole season worked out, so I'm sure it'll happen eventually. It's got a whole season planned out.
Yeah, I'm sure Chibnall's got something to say about that. Like, no.
I'm sure anyone would have something to say about that, really. 60-year-old white guy has a whole season of Doctor Who planned out in his head.
Just like every other nerd on the internet has a whole season planned out.
Yeah. But this one, I guess, has some credit, though, because he's written for TV and stuff. So there you go.
I'm sure it's a good season, but, it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot that maybe you'll get Grant Morrison and maybe you won't, just like everybody else.
Yep. New showrunner Grant Morrison has a whole season.
Have you heard the rumor?
Well, it's confirmed here now, Warren. It's confirmed here. All right, that's it. The end of our meandering news list, folks, is we've reached it, and so after the break, we get back to our commentaries, Series 12 commentaries, Spyfall Part 2 with Kim Rogers. Welcome back. It is part 2 of Spyfall, a.k.a. the Sacha Dhawan Appreciation Hour. We haven't even recorded part 1 yet with Rachel Donner, but I'm just going to assume that she has just exuded such praise and admiration for Sacha Dhawan. So based on that hypothetical praise, our guest this week, who is Kim Rogers, will be very hard-pressed to match that. Personally, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that, Kim.
Well, first of all, I watched Spyfall Part 1 when it premiered with Rachel Donner, so I know how she feels about it, and I know that she will express a lot of enthusiasm, and it will be wonderful. But I will express more.
It's now a competition.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
Yes. And when we get to episode 9 and 10, especially because he's mostly in episode 10, we'll see. We'll have to say, okay, now listen, the first 2 episodes of this, we went into proper Sacha Dhawan territory here, so you got to up your game. So Kim, you've probably heard her on Reality Bomb, of course, and you're famous for Head Over Feels, the blog, and of course This or That at Gallifrey One and Li Who back when Li Who was a thing. How you doing, Kim? Remember Gallifrey One? Remember that This or That with like Toasted Cole and Pearl Mackie?
Still, I can't believe that we got Gallifrey 1 this year.
I know.
And that it feels like it was 84 years ago.
Are you referring to that famous GIF of the
Always.
Titanic?
Titanic.
I don't let a day go by that I don't reference Titanic in some capacity.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a second, I even had to just think. I was like, "Who did we have on this or that?" It was so long ago. But then I was like, "Oh, Tosin and Pearl Mackie and Michelle Ryan, who were all delightful.
They were great.
Love them
wonderful.
very much."
Yeah, oftentimes on this podcast, I often joke that we sort of like count like Gallifrey 1 as like the beginning of our fiscal year in a way. Like it's not like New Year's Day. Like that's whatever, sure, fine. It's like we measure them like pre-galley and after galley, basically is how we sort of plan our episodes out. And yeah, Gallifrey 1 was earlier this year, if you can still believe it. This series of Doctor Who was in 2020. It aired. We watched an episode of this series of Doctor Who at Gallifrey 1, and then the season ended, and we all just sort of thought, oh, wow, that's some pretty unfortunate business that's happening in China and possibly Italy. Well, at least we enjoyed a nice season of Doctor Who, and now look at us. Here we are.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe
2020 you
I
speak
don't
of?
believe me either. I don't believe
We do all have to say like a word of praise and thanksgiving to the Doctor Who production team that the holiday special is already filmed.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yes.
Got that one under the wire.
Like, can you believe that we'll still get a holiday episode of Doctor Who with all of this?
I know. Well, listen, folks. This is going out sometime in October. We're recording this towards the end of August, so a lot could change in between now and then. But I do notice that a bunch of BBC shows, even here in late August, are actually springing back into production. So we may even have Doctor Who on time next year, whenever that time will be, probably a year from now. Just think of how possibly better off this world might be the next time we get to watch a full season of Doctor Who. Think about that and hope.
God willing.
Yeah. But tonight it's Spyfall. That could be a thing. Spyfall Part 2, the second episode, of course, of the series, and of course the two-part story that launched the show in question. I assume you all have your legally purchased North American Region 1 Blu-ray copies.
Of course.
At the handy. Or rips therein. Good. All right, here we go then. We're going to watch some Spyfall, the second part of which we'll be following right now in 3, 2, 1, play. 3, 2, 1, play.
Previously on Doctor Who.
Nicely done.
Stuff is going down if there's a previously on.
I know. That's the first time. That is, I think it's the first time they actually ever said previously on. I think it was Jodie Whittaker who said the voiceover, too. I remember she said that in the commentary on this Blu-ray set. Or someone else said that. I think Chris Chibnall said that. He was on the commentary with her.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like, they've had, like, recaps and stuff, but they've never actually said previously on, like Majel Barrett on Star Trek Next Generation or something.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just, first shot of Sasha in the previous
Oh, I thought you meant Stephen Fry.
No.
Who they worked years and years to get on this show, and they just off him.
Just off him.
I kind of felt ripped off.
I did a little bit, too. Yeah, this was such...
No, this previously on, because we're currently watching a lot of, working our way through Lost on Twitter, and, every episode opens with a previously on.
Right.
And so, I feel
damn well
very
better Lost.
at home right now with this
because you needed it.
Also, who doesn't want to see this scene again?
Right.
Of
True.
The reveal. It's January 1st, 2020, and we already had one of our greatest television moments of the year.
Much as I love Missy, this is a better reveal.
It's just because they kept it quiet. We had no idea. There is something to be said about Chibnall's, infuriating cone of silence.
Yeah.
Because it was just so satisfying, and I felt like I got some of the satisfaction from having John Sims spoiled. I got some of it back with this. I mean, I'll never forgive John Sim being spoiled, but this made it a little better.
Well,
you're on notice, BBC. You hear that?
Forgive me if I repeat this anecdote last week on the commentary that we have yet to record. But I heard about Sacha Dhawan. I heard this rumor, what I thought was a rumor about Sacha Dhawan as the master. And I thought, oh, whatever. Okay. Or whatever. I don't believe it, but sure, fine. Maybe it's a thing. But you know what? I was kind of like spiteful towards Chibnall and the whole of Doctor Who because, as you were saying, like it was like such a cone of silence. And I was kind of like, tell us something. I'm kind of annoyed here. And then I kind of like put it away and like, I don't believe it anymore. And then all of a sudden, Sacha Dhawan shows up in part 1. And I thought, oh, okay, it must have been obviously a mistake. Sacha Dhawan is in the show, but he's not the master because that would be silly. And then when the moment happened, it says, oh my God, they did it.
As we also probably talked about last week, one of the big things as well is all those publicity shots of the TARDIS team.
Yeah.
Where Sacha Dhawan has been edited.
Oh, those ingenious bastards. In the trailer. In the trailer, when they come up, I'm the doctor. Like, Sasha is edited out of that scene in the trailer. Those.
Yeah, just painted out.
Yep.
I do.
Also, this is a pretty damn good cliffhanger.
It was
I
pretty
do
good.
love the opening of this episode, too, with... I love the doctor alone and, like, trying to figure her stuff out. I stopped myself from swearing. Are you proud of me?
Yeah, very proud.
And then, like, the TARDIS, the fam in peril as well. Like, it's such a great, like, direct pickup from the cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun.
Like, there's 2 cliffhangers, essentially.
Also,
like, what's happening to the doctor and this plane is crashing with her 3 friends on it.
Exactly.
Jodie's great at talking to herself, too. She's a stellar at... Like, Matt Smith was pretty good at blabbing to himself, but he just kind of... all kind of mushed together. She's really good at it.
I like 100% believe that she hears voices talking to her.
Yeah.
You know?
I think basically there's her other selves are there. You know, because I kind of argue with myself too, like, you know, my future self. Like when I'm doing something that seems really nitpicky, I sort of like almost kind of tell myself, not out loud, thankfully. I sort of just no, it's because of this. That's why I'm doing it.
My God, I'm just like shook now by the mental image of like her arguing with the 10th Doctor or something.
Yeah.
Like she sees the 10th Doctor there and she's arguing with him.
Yeah.
That is a fanfic waiting to happen.
Yeah. This is, I realize you have questions. This is so great. This is absolutely great.
Bradley Walsh is so great in this scene.
Yeah. Especially you, Graham.
Nice. That's nice.
Is it wrong to be like really pleased with Bradley Walsh and Graham in general just because he's like the old white guy and it's like, hey, let's cheer for for the guy who's really overrepresented
if he'd been the doctor
to
then
begin with. Yeah.
But
Graham
since he's not,
O'Brien is a cupcake and must be protected at all costs.
That's fair.
There will be no killing him ever.
That better
Chibnall.
Mm-hmm. Possibly in an episode
because you know
that was shot a year ago, but yes, yep.
You know, like it's just I didn't expect to love him so much when he was cast.
Mm-hmm.
And I really adore him.
I do too. You know, it's been said, well, like Graham basically had the most character development last year, and I like that now I like having a year under our belt with this time team because we don't have to worry about like their development or anything. We could just sort of like have them be in adventures and like form more central parts of the adventure, splitting the Doctor and the rest of the fam up. I think really, really helps both. I think.
Oh,
and having an older companion is so rare that it's kind of cool anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it just everything about these first two episodes, just felt so much more confident to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like the training wheels came off.
Oh my God, yeah.
In a big way, and just like everything, and this episode, as we'll see as we like keep watching it, it gets a little muddy in the middle. Like they don't stick the landing as well as I wish they would have, considering the first half. But it's still just like I would rather Doctor Who take big swings and kind of like miss a little,
yeah,
than like safely like hit a single, you know?
Thank you for the baseball analogy. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Look, I made a
top level
metaphor.
Good God.
I can't make a hockey one, Steven, but I can make a baseball one.
Baseball is such a great metaphor for life that it's very easily transferable. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, I think I've said this many times before, but I almost feel like the production team kind of underestimated, how big of an impact they could have made. I think they thought that, like, hey, we've named the Doctor a woman now, and that's pretty big, so maybe we should not go so big with the actual episodes. That's kind of what it felt like. It did feel like a very safe season last year, didn't it? Almost as if it's like, well, we can't do too crazy thing, have a woman Doctor and have really exciting world.
But is part of that because we've had Doctor Who around for a ton of time? Because they kind of did the same thing with Eccleston, but it was so new.
Well, it was so new, notice, and TV
right?
was new, and Doctor Who was relatively new and unproven at that point. But the gap between what was presumed to be big in Series 11 compared to this, I mean, they touted it as like, oh, this is probably the biggest story we've ever done. And as I'm watching and going, that actually lives up to the hype. Like, this feels like genuine, like, motion picture type of plotting with like locations in South Africa, and they're jetting all over the world, and like it feels like
huge. They got like a budget that was like 10 times the size of what they had for the last season too.
Which is not true. Oh, it's Sacha Dhawan.
There he is.
There we go.
The Mr. Barton I could like do without, like, honestly. I just want Sasha all the time.
Well, he's got to have someone to talk to, because he does work better when he has.
He's got Anjali Mahindra.
Off. I'm not talking on set.
But I want to know what happens, because then nothing happens really.
Yeah, I know. He just sort of
walks exactly.
Is he coming back next season? What's going on?
There's so much setup with Mr. Barton and no follow through. When I was watching it, because I watched it this afternoon to like refresh myself, and I was just like, oh, I'm so bored by him. And they set it up that he could be really great, and then it just poof. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll come back in Series 12, like how
13,
Chivers did with the Timeless Child, like pulling that out of his butt.
or the holiday special, who knows?
True.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just like appreciate Sasha's face.
All right, if I must.
Yeah. It's so great. I just remember watching the first one, and we watched it and Rachel will probably tell this story too, that we all watched it together at her apartment, actually, like about 6 of us that live in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all just like, the whole first episode, we were just like, he's so cute. Like, wow. And then we were like, oh, the cute nerdy guy gets to come. Like, the whole like planting of him being the master went straight over our heads,
right?
Because we were so just like besotted by him. And then when it was like the reveal, we were like, we get to keep him. Oh my God. So great.
Were you a fan of his before this?
Funny thing, like, I saw him in the History Boys. I know I did, because I saw the original cast.
What's the History Boys?
The play.
Okay.
I saw it on Broadway. I worked there, selling merchandise. So I definitely saw him in it. And like that whole cast has gone on to be real famous, because it was Sasha, it was Dominic Cooper and James Corden, our beloved Samuel Anderson was in that. And so
holy crap,
that was really like the only knowledge of Sasha I had before, and I didn't put it together until obviously I went like deep diving on who he was afterwards.
I knew him because he was Waris Hussein in An Adventure in Space and Time.
Yeah, that's basically how I knew him too.
Yeah, I totally that didn't connect with me.
No, operating.
I'm a bad Doctor Who fan. I did watch that movie, but it just like, didn't connect the dots there. But he's about to make like a really dramatic entrance, and I'm just like,
that he is.
It's like all you can say is like, I'm spoiling it. I'm gotten ahead.
That's fine. That's fine. See, we've all watched
That's
this.
quite all
We've
right.
all watched this before. Listener, you
all
have as
watched it
well.
before. See, but I jumped a whole scene because it's this whole scene.
It's not happening yet. But such as your anticipation for Sacha Dhawan's reappearance, and not that of Sir Lenny Henry, apparently.
Who's also a very handsome man.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Hey, who won Most Handsome Man for the? I missed that.
We haven't done Most Handsome Young Man comes in the fall.
Yeah, the Feelies came out.
The Feelies came out, and Sasha had been winning the whole time, and then like with 3 days left in the voting period, a Matthew McFadden fan page posted the poll on their Facebook.
No idea who that is.
Oh, I don't.
And you cannot, as Sage so sagely said, you can't compete with like the internet footprint of a former Mr. Darcy. And
that's fair.
Because Matthew McFadden was the Darcy and the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, and he's so wonderful in Succession that like I couldn't like begrudge him beating Sasha. And then
which one is he in Succession?
I was also like, Sasha will have Most Handsome Young Man coming up, and I feel like people will campaign for that. But then it was like such a bummer when we got the attention from Joe Martin.
Yeah.
When she won for Yas Queen, and Sage and I were like, man. Now I'm sad that Sasha didn't win, because what if he had tweeted us?
That's what you have to do. I don't see Matthew McFadden quote tweeting you anywhere. So
no, well, because he's not on Twitter, because he's probably afraid.
Oh,
that's fair. That's a good reaction to Twitter.
But
he needs to come to a Gallifrey one. I mean,
Sasha?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, that needs to happen. When a Gallifrey one can happen again, he needs to be there. Because then he will feel the love. It got Christopher Eccleston back to doing Doctor Who again, for crying out loud. So I mean, I just feel like that place is a place of wonders.
Here he is.
There
Look
he
at
is.
this dramatic entrance.
What is she?
Like, what I love about him so much is he goes like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
From moment one. He's just like absolutely insane and hamming it up and chewing the scenery in the best way, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it turned like some people off, but those some people are wrong.
Also, this is the first time the tissue compression eliminator has shown up in the new series.
It certainly has, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this like chemistry. Like, look at this.
Oh yeah, and then you can have me. And then she's on her knees and says,
he's like,
"Master."
I've got you anyway.
Oh yeah,
like,
there is. Wasn't there like shortly after this? Wasn't there like a mock trailer that came out for basically 50 Shades of something? With this scene.
I don't know, but like, you better believe as soon as we're done recording this, I'm going to go search for it for Happy Hour.
I can't believe you haven't seen that. Yeah, it's somebody. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we'll search it out. It might have been Bette Maley who did it, actually.
Oh my God, just like this, like, he's like, I feel it in the hearts, plural. It's like such good writing too. Like, just to let him go insane. And then
so who's what's his name? McFadden in Succession.
He's
don't
Tom.
Tell me the character's name.
He's Tom.
Which is who? You gotta just because I've seen like 6 episodes of it. I don't remember who's who.
The sister's husband. So he's like the brother-in-law.
All right, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
She's kneeling. Like, what?
Oh.
I could just Google this instead of pressing upon you to do this during a commentary.
This is there's a definite text here in this.
It's so like the kinkiest thing to do.
It really is.
It's not quite Anakin and the Emperor kink.
It's just like and just
like that look right there, that shot.
Say my name, and he's just like getting off on it. Just, and this costume is so good.
Yeah, and he sort of keeps it, doesn't it? Like this becomes his regular outfit.
Kind of like the Victorian dandy.
Yeah.
Oh, so great. And then combined with the the stubble, which makes it like anachronistic. Mm-hmm. It's so good. I told you I was going to be thirsty on this.
That's all right. That's all
That's
good.
Quite
That's
all right.
why you're here, Kim. That's
this
why.
is thirst zone.
Yeah. You're allowed to
And then
be
just
that.
like him getting on his knees as well to like look her in the eye is such a great choice as well. Because he just like really like wants them, like he wants the power over her, but he also just like
he wants to be equals. Eventually, he just wants to be an equal.
He does.
What I want to know is, how did Missy go from, I think the Doctor's right, to now, presumably he's after Missy. We don't know that for a fact, but so just decided, to hell with that. I'm going to be evil again.
Regeneration.
Because, yeah, he's even more of a lunatic than Sim was.
You know, yeah, you never know what will happen in regeneration. And we don't know what happened in the interim. Like, we don't know how long he's been...
Or how many masters.
Yeah, how many times he's been regenerated since then, and like what all he's done.
Or if he's after Missy, we have no clue.
And then also, I mean, his anger will pour into like what he found out about Gallifrey, like which I can imagine sent him off the edge. I love that the fam is still in their
fancy dress,
hella suave evening gear with Yaz in this sequin jacket that I will dream about. And then like the boys in these tuxes. Yeah. Like both of them look so good. Everyone, to quote Tom Dickinson, everyone is hot.
That is quintessential Tom.
Yep.
Working a Homestuck reference, and you're there.
He like screamed that out. I think he screamed that out in like fan video happy hour at Galley. Or no, it was during In Defense Of. He just like in one of his defenses, he just started screaming every woman's hot. And it's true.
Yeah.
I also love how this episode becomes like a backdoor historical.
Yeah, like I was not expecting this. Yeah.
You weren't expecting this. Yeah. And it, it's very tricksy.
I confess I knew nothing about Ada Lovelace or Charles Babbage or the Analytical Engine or any of this.
That's a fairly accurate depiction of it, too.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking at this up in a dictionary or encyclopedia, as a kid.
That's Mark Dexter there, who was on our Radio Free Skaro live show. Back in February of 2020, yes. Before COVID.
See, I've completely forgotten all that. Yeah.
Like we said, 84 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a different era, a different world.
The Science Museum in London has a mock-up of a difference engine.
Oh, really?
On display.
Oh, cool. See, this is what Doctor Who does best when they do these little historical episodes. Is they inspire me to want to learn more about the period in which they are in.
That says more about you, Stephen, than it does about.
Well, I mean, Stephen, it is an educational program.
Exactly. It's doing what Sidney Newman said they would do all those years ago. Damn it! And I am taking him up for it. Like, yes, I'm going to read up. Like
yes.
Now, understand that I'm not much of a reader of things, but I...
Oh, no, we totally understand that.
I do like a good documentary. I watched a great documentary on the partition of India in advance of or just after watching the
Demons of the
Punjab
last year. Yeah.
Also, why am I making fun of you for learning? No matter
I'm trying to learn more, and I mean, this Doctor Who is inspiring me to learn.
You might as well.
I should be encouraging you.
Start calling him a nerd or something, like a nerd.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but here we are.
Stephen, it's okay if you want to learn things. I respect that.
Thank you very much. I like learning things. Actually, I like having learned things. I don't like the process of learning them, which is why I don't like reading books, because it takes a long time to read books. I just want to know. I want the easy way out, basically.
So part of me wishes that the Doctor would keep this tuxedo look all of the time.
Oh, yeah.
She looks so great. Not that I don't appreciate the like colorful t-shirt and the lavender jacket and stuff, but she just looks so good in this episode, in this whole ensemble.
Yeah, because it's for the spy themed party, but it also sort of, because it's kind of generic enough, it sort of fits in with the like here in 1834 as well. Like it's sort of almost period costume, and then later in Paris. Yeah.
Eccleston is the only one not to have a tux, now that I think of it.
Yeah,
Tennant for sure.
Yeah, Tennant. Yeah, Tennant.
Capaldi?
Smith did it. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
They all did.
Yeah,
Smith
they
did
all.
for a wedding, and then so did Capaldi
Yeah.
for Dilver Live.
Well, I think in Big Finish, Eccleston has to be wearing a tux in at least one of the episodes.
Well, okay,
that
the
they
Tux
do.
probably has its own spin-off. So
But then, see, I would just be mad that I can't see it. So
It would
True.
be described to you. Yeah, that's probably what it was. But you could always dream. You could. I actually come to think of it. One of the early costumes, or perhaps a photo shoot for one of those. Like, remember the first episode? How these, like at the JFK assassination and elsewhere, that he is wearing like a top hat and a coat and a suit of some sort. So that could be construed possibly as Eccleston in a tux. Just saying.
that seems reasonable.
Yeah, it's canon. So
that's reaching.
If a bit of a stretch.
it's a bit reaching. I know you do not get it, but oh well. Ah, yes, Eccleston. He was at Gallifrey 1 too. If you're thinking back to 84 years
Now we
ago.
got proper Doctor Who, some disused crap.
Yeah, this is the one right here. It's just on. This is just on the back lot here, right, of the BBC. In
This is such a great scene with the fam trying to figure out what to do without the Doctor.
Yeah. And not like just like scrambling, like failing. Like, I like how Graham sort of like is the one to keep them up,
Yeah.
I like how they both razz each other in the midst of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's so great that they don't they're distressed but not despairing, which is really nice. And they're also really trying to think like her.
Yeah.
And look how far they've come.
Like they're sussing out, like basically, like, you realize how little they know about this person who they've decided to run off around the universe with.
Right.
I like this. I like that we're finally having this conversation, and it hasn't happened off screen. Like somewhat famously in Time in the Ronnie, Mel goes, "I know about regeneration, of course." And thinking, okay, well then we don't have to explain that now, do we? But here, like, they're discovering it. Like, I do like that. The Doctor is mysterious again, and you can have that ability when you are, she regenerates on her own. There's no companions around to watch or anything like that. So there is no reason to suspect that she was a different person before.
Mm-hmm. Well, and because you have this crowded TARDIS team, you can also have this discussion of, they all know her, and it's different than Rose coming back and telling Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
These are all people with intimate experiences that they've experienced together with her, and that's why this conversation works so well. And then they also just maintain their characters, Yaz and Graham kind of sassing each other, and it's all so they're all so charming together.
Donuts, yeah, they carry a whole scene together. It's great.
There's no one that Graham would rather be on the run with.
Yeah.
Is this a Doctor Who version of the Bechdel test, which they fail because they're talking about the Doctor?
They're talking explicitly about the Doctor. I have no idea what happens in the holiday special, but the fact that it starts with those three on Earth and the Doctor off in some space prison, not unlike Shada, I hope that we get a lot of scenes of those three together doing whatever.
I was convinced those were going to be the Cybermen, these glowing dudes.
I kind of was too. But then again, I thought that
well, it's because it's so similar to how they were in Army of Ghosts.
That's true. And we are nothing if not unimaginative.
It's
and calling to the
what
past endlessly.
We're taught to expect. We're taught to expect
True.
the Cybermen.
Yeah, exactly. Because it usually is. I mean, let's face it. I did not know about Noor Inayat Khan either, so I learned something about her in this.
I actually had to Wikipedia that one.
I did, yeah.
I just love this hopping through great unsung ladies through history. It's such a great concept because, again, like you all just said, I didn't know who they were either, and it's just startling to think of how many great women there have been that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like how they address when she asks him why are you bossing a bunch of variants around, because that's fair. They wouldn't put up with any of that. These are a bunch of racist Germans, so
And so, like, the master here is like what, like disguise on, a perception filter.
Yeah, he's got some sort of perception filter thing going on, as I recall. That's what he says to her.
Yes, well, because that's what is so cold when the doctor like makes it go away, and it gets really problematic. And like he's disguised himself as Aryan, and then to reveal this like man of color to these Nazis, like, yikes.
I almost said it's been a pandemic since I've seen this. I don't want to invent that turn of phrase.
How many pandemics times? Well, just one. Just the one. Let's hope it stops.
Ongoing. To be determined.
But yeah, how do you not think that these flashes right here are Cybermen? Like, they straight up look like they could be Cybermen.
Yeah, like the pointy heads, they kind of look like old school Cybermen.
And then the laser shoots!
Yeah. And I like how he doesn't quite know.
Bradley sells the hell out of this with the physical comedy. It's so great.
These are really impractical. Even if you know how to use a laser shoot, why would you invent such a thing?
Well, because then you get through security and stuff. Just,
I suppose,
walk in and stamp your foot and... Oh, this is a cold scene, too.
I don't understand this whole thing.
I don't either. I think I took a nap during this section this afternoon.
Okay.
I'm just, like I said, I'm so not interested in Barton.
Right.
And just like get me back to the master and the doctor.
Having been to a few of these New York viewings myself, was there day drinking involved, Kim? Would that have been the cause of this?
No, I mean we were drinking. No, I napped on this scene today.
Yeah, today. She's
I see. Okay, fair enough.
No, when we saw Spyfall 1, we had just come from seeing Rise of Skywalker on IMAX because that's our New Year's Day tradition when there's a Star Wars movie out.
Right.
And then what? This aired like 4 days later?
Yeah, the shortest amount of time between
I think I watched this one like by myself at home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I watched it this afternoon, I took a nap in this scene.
Okay, I want your opinion, because I like to die on this hill. Are you pro or anti-Rey being Palpatine? A Palpatine?
I mean, somehow Palpatine has returned.
Thank you. I think I know where you fall in this argument. I am very anti it.
It was so dumb. It was so dumb. So dumb. And what was hilarious about, and we'll get to it very shortly, about having like just seen Star Wars.
Right.
Is when like the Doctor and the Master like have a force bond and start telecommunicating together, and we were all like, oh my god.
They're going to pass lightsabers to each other and stuff. And
I have no problem with the force bond stuff, just the parentage.
Yeah. Killed his own mother.
The parentage is dumb. It's dumb.
Yep, I agree. Also, getting rid of Rose. I'm wearing my Rose t-shirt right now, so I'm thinking about it. I'm still annoyed by how they kind of pushed her to this one side.
This scene is so great.
Yeah. Because Sasha doesn't say a word.
It's wrong how attractive he is in the uniform, and like I just have to say it. I have.
You are correct.
Listen. The coat is very reminiscent of like Captain Jack. You know,
yeah,
like
the coat and just like the hat. You just like ignore the insignia at the very top of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's not in frame, like it just then was not in frame.
Yeah.
So you're like, that's not a Nazi.
So you're like, thirst, not thirst. Thirst, not thirst.
Yeah, exactly.
Thirst, not thirst.
But yeah, the jacket it's very Jack Harkness.
Mm-hmm.
And just.
Well, I mean, Hugo Boss did design these outfits. It's tough to not admire them for what they are.
Yeah.
Other than what they are.
Oh, that's just studs oh God, that's so perfect. So perfectly written, so perfectly acted. Like I liked Series 11 enough, and we did commentaries from last year. We sort of like, it's good, yeah, but like it just never took the dramatic oomph that some of these episodes in this series do. Like a scene like this just didn't feel like what happened last year, but.
And I love how she like doesn't flinch that entire scene.
Yeah,
like that's brilliant acting of that. She gives nothing away, and it's very hard as an actor to like sit and not react. And she didn't react at all, and it's really good.
So I remember seeing this scene here in the trailer. and thinking it was from some episode somewhere off in later on in the season, and then I was just like, this two-parter is so bonkers that this actually takes place in the opening two-parter. It's all over the place. In a good way.
Again, and they are really good with the exposition for explaining who both of these women are without it sounding like an info dump.
Yeah, because neither would know who the other one is, essentially. Certainly not Ada Lovelace. She would have no idea because it's in her future.
And it's just like assuming the audience doesn't know, and how do we explain without, dragging the story down? It's just really well done.
Yeah, it could be tricky to be like, I need to inform the audience who this is without making it look like I'm reading a Wikipedia summary to the audience at the same time, telling a person, "Oh, you're this person. You're the most famous thing in this." Like, I suppose that's what fans do anyway, don't they? I mean,
yeah.
We see as if we're not that.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh my God, you're David Tennant. You were in Doctor Who. Was I? I had no idea.
But then you play the fan game of trying to find the most obscure thing you like them in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, not many people saw that one performance of such and such, but I really liked you in that, hoping that you'll have a connection.
I ended up standing next to Giancarlo Esposito once at Vancouver Fan Expo, and I told him, "You've been great since Do the Right Thing." And he's like, "Well, thank you very much," and he left. That's my whole encounter with Giancarlo Esposito.
This scene hits way harder in August than it did in January.
Oh yeah,
with the way she's reacting to like the world on fire and the darkness that never sustains and stuff. I was just like, yeah. I watched it this afternoon. I was like, that hits way differently watching it now than it did even 9 months ago.
Yeah. Today, these days are not easy. I'm not going to, undermine how bad of a time it is right now for the world. But we are not going through a world war, at least. We are not in Paris in 1941 or 42 or 43, where things were very, very different. So yeah, humanity has gone through quite a lot of stuff, and
people in the space year 2022, let us know.
Yeah, it's it's like because it's a historical. We are watching something taking place in World War II, and sometimes you forget when you're in the present day that we are a part of history as well. It's not something that happened before us.
My dad was born during World War II. It's not that far off.
But also, like, don't you think if they brought Noor and Ada to 2020 that they would be equally horrified?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, true.
Like,
although they'd probably go a plague. Oh, we know how to handle that.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of horror, but it's like still, I think that they would react and being like, this is still going on, but in like almost like a more insidious kind of way.
I mean, I do that.
It's almost
too.
like,
really?
Graham with the laser shoes again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's more insidious now. It's almost like I don't know.
He said on the floor,
again,
which I thought was a weird line.
The fam is so charming. Mm-hmm. Him doing the soft shoe shuffle.
He said on the floor, which I thought was a weird one. I'm wondering if this was a scene written elsewhere and they forgot to change that line. I don't know. It's obviously...
And then Ryan explaining the whole plan.
Yeah.
Like, poor, sweet, precious cinnamon roll Ryan Sinclair. Oh, here we go. Force bonding.
4Bs,
nice.
Of course. That's a good callback, too.
No, I remember watching this and, like, screaming with the sound of drums. It's just such like instant callback. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Are the drums going through Missy's head? Are they going through Sacha Dhawan's head?
Maybe not going through, but certainly he remembers, I bet.
Presumably tormented, because it's been all through all the previous ones to Sim.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sim, once he's escaped from Gallifrey, is he cured of the drums?
I feel like Kim was probably having a moment during that shot there. But
it's just like...
Because now he's got the short hair. Now he's like really
Yeah,
strong.
I was like, didn't he have long hair in Spyfall 1? He did, and now it's all short and whoo.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm a heterosexual male, but I see where you're coming from with this.
Both look good.
Is it short or is it slicked back? I can't quite.
He also basically had no beard in episode 1 at the start.
Yeah.
Did they bring it back for reshoots? Is that why this is happening?
I don't know. I feel like that would be a thing.
No.
Contact. Three Doctors reference. I was so pleased to see this. It should have been like the fast switching.
Why aren't they doing that? Yeah. Oh, because it looks like hell. It did back then.
Because they can do better.
I know, but still. I don't know where they shot this.
Why isn't he wrestling a creature for 10 minutes?
I like that wherever they shot this, it's cold because you can see his breath there. It's good attention to detail. There's something about the first tenant sim conversation was over the phone, and it was great. And this just feels like when they're separated by a distance, it's kind of like, I've always thought like Twitter DMs is like the soliloquies to the audience, like everyone gets real honest in DMs. It's like the public Twitters for show and the DMs. And I just feel like when they're not around everyone and in person and stuff, the theatrics just go and they just sort of like talk as two people.
And then they meet the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Did I ever apologize for Jodrell Bank?
And Jodrell Bank, yeah. So all us old nerds are like, yes.
The Gopolis reference was, oh boy. Chibnall earned some cred here in this episode. I'll say that.
Yeah, from us old dorks who have to be pandered to.
I know. It's a little bit on the nose, maybe. I don't know. That was kind of fun.
Hey, I still enjoyed it. I still like being pandered to. I know I'm being pandered to, but I still enjoy it.
Shouldn't that make you like the world's biggest Big Bang Theory fan?
Oh, no. See, that's just...
No, because I hate garbage.
Yeah.
So there's that.
See, that was they actually worked a reference into a line and made a joke of it, as opposed to just sort of...
Surrounded by a quality production with good people that are funny.
As opposed to just sort of saying a reference and saying, hey, I understood that.
And here's the thing. Jim Parsons is great in everything but the Big Bang. He's probably good in that too, but I'll never watch it to find out.
Jim Parsons is great in Hollywood, good.
Yeah.
He's great in the Muppet movie where he's briefly in a cameo.
I've seen him on stage. He's great. I saw him in The Normal Heart, and I really appreciate Jim Parsons. I think
that's the Larry. What's his name?
Larry Kramer. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and he's great in Hollywood. What I've seen like half of Hollywood, but he was good in it. But I just can't stand the Big Bang Theory because it's all references, Chris. Yeah. It's not one nice little cherry on top of a glorious sundae. It's all cherries.
Well, and it's also all lowest common denominator.
That too. Hey, nerds, you're stupid. Which is, we aren't. We're nerds. Mm-hmm. Here's some references.
Hey, I'm a nerd who likes to learn about things. So
it'd be like throwing stats at sports people and expecting them to go, "Oh, okay, sure, that's all. Okay, fine, I guess."
She looks she looks relatively fine for what just happened to her, I have to say. Having a big swirling electric eels.
I think the wording one is intact.
Yeah. It's definitely true.
But I still don't understand why, like, okay, you don't like your mom. Is that really worth electro murdering her?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, well, Chris is the wrong person to ask.
Yes. the answer is yes, because it happened.
We're all working through some issues here today. Yeah.
Apparently so.
Again, also like the reveal of like his big plot, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. It does kind of feel like a stepping off point for something else.
And this is like where I feel like the episode starts to collapse under its own weight a little bit, because it's like there's so much going on. And so it starts for me to get a little messy, and it's like when you start thinking about it,
right,
you start finding all the like plot holes or ridiculousness. It's like I called this episode like a Monet to reference that, like from a distance, and if you don't think about it too much, it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But when you start to like get into the nitty gritty of it, it's a bit messy.
Much like, to tie it in, to the previous discussion, The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, exactly. It's messy, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just it gets a little over ambitious, I think, and doesn't quite get there.
It tries to stretch the triple, to bring it back to the earlier baseball analogy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I like how we've got this complex weave tapestry of nonsense.
Been, like, content with the double, but you're trying to go for that triple, and then you get thrown out at third base.
Yeah, you go because you're thinking, I'm going to hit a cycle. If I get a triple, I get the cycle. I already hit a homer and a double and a single earlier in this game. I'm going for that cycle, and if I fail, I fail.
Don't.
I was engaged in this discussion, but no more.
See, don't get me and Steven started with the baseball stuff.
Yes.
All right, fair enough.
Baseball, Ray. Through all the years and all the ages, there's been one constant: baseball.
This reminds me, just to bring it back to Star Wars, of the Vader Sessions, which is a great, almost 20-year-old video where a guy took all of James Earl Jones' lines from other movies and put them in Star Wars, and it's brilliantly funny.
Yeah. Kasavin. That's what they were. That's right. I've been watching these episodes before we do commentaries for them, which is like the first time, and it does feel weird to watch these episodes again, given how different the world was when they first aired, and like parts of it are like, oh yeah, this bit I haven't remembered that bit because I haven't really felt like wanting to. I don't. Honestly, I didn't feel like watching anything when like the lockdown started and everything, because I just felt like I needed my mind to be active, and so I played and still play a lot of like video games just because I couldn't passively sit and watch things. And so I've only recently sort of like getting back into enjoying things like this again, you know.
I've done both.
Like early lockdown, I would put on things that I knew, and like half the time I'm just listening to it while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I blew through. I watched all 16 episodes of seasons of Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, wow.
In like 7-8 weeks.
That sounds like me in classic
because I would
back
just
in the day.
put it on and let it go.
Yeah.
Listen, just going for your Instagram, your and Sage's Instagram stories, I have no idea how you guys know all this stuff. I just cannot keep track of it. If it's pre, I don't know, 2000 maybe, but the current stuff, there's no way I can keep track of all this stuff. And I'm not saying this in a derogatory way. I'm actually really impressed.
And I'm not great with like current television stuff. Like when we were building the Feelies, I mean, this year it was mostly Sage, and she has the benefit of like that's her job. Like her job was working in entertainment and having to stay on top of everything, and so she is like, you know, a fountain of information when it came to that. But I mean, when we were like looking at our comedy list, I was like, I watched The Good Place and I watched The Unicorn. So I'll write about those, which everyone should watch The Unicorn. It's charming and wonderful. And then I caught up on things like when she like gives her stamp of approval, I will like, you know, because like while we were doing the Feelies, I finished Succession and I watched Watchmen. So, you know, there's too much content in general. Like there's no way that everyone can be aware of everything.
I've led you into a discussion that isn't about Sacha Dhawan during a major Sacha Dhawan scene here, Kim, and I apologize for that.
I know. I'm just, well, also because this scene is a little gross. So I'm like kind of fine with that. Like he's great and like turning in the performance. But again, and I said it when we were doing this earlier, I think it's real gross with the whole Nazi thing and then removing the perception filter and revealing like who he really is. Like that's just, it's a little yikes.
It's kind of, you know, it puts him vulnerable, but it's like it is makes a lot of other people feel vulnerable at the same time.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you can't change the fact that this is a man of color. Like that's who he is, and you just exposed him to Nazis, and it's just not great. not great.
No, it's like, when everyone like calls Donald Trump, oh, he's fat now and everything. Well, now you're just making fat jokes, and a lot of people who are struggling.
And there's
with
so many
weight,
other things you could criticize.
Yeah, are like now, like that's the one thing. Like, yeah,
that's like whenever people would go, oh, Hitler only had one testicle. I'm like, and murdered 8 million Jews.
There's the big one.
Which is the bigger crime?
That's the bigger
here.
one right there. Yeah,
and it's also just like low for the Doctor, and I realize that it's the Master. But it's low for her to do that when normally, yes, the Doctor is, fire, ice, and rage and all that kind of stuff, but like, it just feels like a low blow.
Yeah.
An unnecessarily low blow.
It's a shotgun blast. It hits him, but it hits a lot of other targets at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
With the
and
shrapnel.
She's smarter than that.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's a real sticky point for me.
It's one of two questionable things that the Doctor does in this story, and the second one is coming up that does not sit well with me at all, which we'll get to when the time comes. But it's great the three ladies are fixing the universe here, which is pretty cool. Through history.
Well, and again, like, this episode to me hits a point where they're like, oh crap, we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden now shoving a lot of like telling as opposed to showing.
Yes. Yeah.
Into it. Which takes some of the satisfaction out to me. I would always rather prefer to be shown rather than told.
Yeah.
And so, but it's like they're running out of time, and we did too many other things, and we could have cut this whole Barton plot line and spent more time with the ladies and with the fam and with the Master, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of like this was probably an important part before the Master reveal. But once you reveal the Master, everything else becomes kind of secondary, doesn't it?
It does. And this, and this is, I think Barton would be great as like a standalone villain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you just said, now that we got the Master involved and we've got the Doctor like hopping through time collecting historical figures, like this just becomes so anticlimactic to me. Mm-hmm. And in in a different episode when he's by himself, like this whole speech that he gives about privacy and your whole life on your phone and all that kind of stuff would work really well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't to me.
It kind of like this the Daniel Barton plot on its own feels like kind of like a mid-season, like series 4 David Tennant
100%.
story. Yeah. Like especially, with Vor, this search program that you've never heard about until now, but everyone has.
Yeah, it's just like
Atmos.
Never will again.
Yeah.
It's sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
See, I told you this episode is a Monet.
It's a little bit sloppy. The broad strokes are there, but yes, I see what you mean.
But again, like I would rather Doctor Who be messy and like exciting.
Yeah,
honestly.
Often television just works on momentum, and feelings and that sort of thing. And like if they actually sat down and had people hash over things, I mean, it's why no phone screens ever look realistic, because you have like 1 or 2 seconds to portray information that someone is looking at on their phone, but it can't remain up there for like 15 seconds while you digest it. It has to be something that can be cut to quick so you can get the gist of what's on the phone that this person is reacting to before it has to move on to something else because of the momentum of the scene. So even though it kind of looks silly, it's like no phone OS looks like that. It's because you have like 2 seconds to tell your story, to say what's on the phone.
Also, this speech goes on
It does a bit.
for 84 years.
A whole pandemic. A pandemic worth of speech.
Like, it's just like too long. Like you're explaining too many things to me, sir. Mm-hmm. Like, and
it's essentially this plot is more or less for the fam to deal with,
have something to do.
Yeah, And it's not really, it is technically the A plot. When you think about it, like on the whole gist of things, the Master and the Doctor are like kind of the B plot. What do you think about it? The main thrust of the actual story is what we're watching here.
Because this is the follow through from Spyfall 1.
Yeah.
But it's not satisfying, except for Ryan doing his little watch.
Yeah. And of course, Sasha Dewan showing.
And Sasha coming back with his hair.
With his hair, yeah.
I mean, I do like the shorn look, but like you can't top that fringe falling in his face.
Has someone, we've mentioned how pandemics last 84 years, there's the 85 years, of course, from Titanic. Has someone screen grabbed that I've just spent the most infuriating 77 years of my life as a description of the past 6 months of 2020?
No.
I don't think so. Although I did get a great screen grab. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to have to like search for a gift set for that.
I'm really amazed that hasn't happened yet. It will probably happen by the time this episode comes out, dear listener. But
I have a classic Who One of the Brig and Sarah, and the subtitle is Whining Grows Louder. And I just keep it on ice for whenever a Doctor Who travesty starts, as one often does every month or so. And I just throw in Whining Grows Louder.
It's interesting to me how the Master like picked the order of which of the fam how they would eliminate it.
Uh-huh.
You know, because he was like, first Yaz, which again, are we forgetting how they were vibing in part 1? But then he's like Yaz and then Ryan and then Graham. Like Graham has to watch. I just like that just struck me as interesting just now. But again, like we were all kind of hoping in Spyfall 1 that Yaz and O would like have a thing. I still secretly hope it.
That's what made it like, that's what just, I know it kind of went nowhere, obviously, because he was the Master shortly after, but like that really lured you in. Like you were just thinking, okay, this guy, and he's kind of a nerdy little guy, but hey,
and that's the first episode of the series, so
him and Yaz would do something.
Also, post the reveal, and I think I said this in one of our recaps of the season, that there would be no more satisfying revenge that the Master could have on the Doctor than to seduce one of the companions away from the Doctor. You know,
why hasn't this happened yet, other than PG?
Why hasn't this happened? You know, and not even like seduce in like the sexual sense. I mean, obviously, I want that too, but like to turn a companion, and like it felt like there was something off with Yaz for like so much of the series that we were like, is this happening? Is this happening? And then it didn't, and I was sad. But I think that's kind of like a missed opportunity that, you know, 57 years of Doctor Who has not mined, of the Master getting a companion on his side.
Although I think in Scream of the Shaka, the Master is the Doctor's companion, and it's all quite a bit seamy.
For what it's worth, I have tweeted out that GIF during the course of this conversation. I have found the GIF of the Master saying, "I've just had the most infuriating 77 years of my life," and I quote 2020 : So there we go, everyone.
I'm
going to steal it. There we go.
It's been done.
I'm stealing it.
It's been done. Enjoy middle of October, everyone. We're having a great time here back in late August. A really great time.
And see, and here's a whole nother section of now the Doctor's going to tell you how we got here. And I would much rather see it.
It is a thing. It is one thing of the Chibnall era, and I think when we get to the Timeless Children, it will become very apparent that I think there are ways that you should be able to show it instead of having the Doctor tell it to you. Although this is an adorable scene, the fact that she's
she's
laminating and stuff, but I do like that this hasn't happened yet. That like I legitimately kind of almost forgot about this, and then
I love that she almost forgot about it too. That's great about it.
Yeah. Bootstrap paradox and all that. Heavy scene right now. Another one of those. And then there's this. That's right. Yep. Oh,
source of consternation for many.
It still annoys me a lot.
I get of two minds about it. I don't know if I can like properly put it in to work. Like with Ada, I can a little bit more because like I kind of understand that they're trying to make the statement of that like she has all of the knowledge and they don't want everything that she does to be like tainted by the fact that it's because of the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand it a little, even though they're both like, you know, shying back away from her.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate that. I mean, I don't like it, but I can like, part of me understands that they're trying to make it to where everything that she had was already in her and that she's fully responsible for her own success. And it's not because she met this time traveling alien who showed her computers and stuff like that. So it's from her and it keeps it pure.
It does. But she gives her justification for it after she's done it, after she's unconscious to even hear why she's doing it. You know?
Yeah, no, it's not great. I don't love it.
No. I'm not arguing with it. I wish that, I think I said this at the time when we reviewed this, I wish that she would have explained it to her and then Ada Lovelace came to the realization herself. You have to wipe my memory.
And it's just like, it's annoying that we don't wipe Tesla later in the season.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's annoying that they do that to the women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan.
No.
You know, because it's like, then like we should wipe it. They should wipe
everyone.
It from every historical figure.
Literally everyone, yeah.
Did they wipe? They didn't wipe Charles Dickens. They didn't wipe William Shakespeare. You know, it's like.
We're missing something kind of important here.
Yeah,
and then now we're back at Gallifrey. It's just like, really, this is like the Stefan of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It has everything.
It does. Golly.
I'm not a fan of the Master coming and destroying Gallifrey again. They could have done something different with that, I think.
Yeah, it's just like, again.
I do like the TARDIS as a mood ring for the Doctor. It's all blue.
And I do like the Doctor, is really quite disturbed about this whole business.
Yeah.
No, I love it going into like her blue period.
Uh-huh.
And that she's dark and twisty for like the rest of the season. Like this is like
Also,
over her.
I never noticed this. Can I point this out? How Dewan is grabbing his lapels. And remember that in Timeless Children, what he's most upset about is the fact that basically the Doctor has inspired all the Time Lords that came after her because she's like more or less the first. And so it's kind of like a little visual representation that part of me is the Doctor, which is the first Doctor.
Ooh.
Oh, I never picked up on that before. Wow.
That's good, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm sure tons of blogs came out with it first, but
you're a Doctor Who scholar.
Well, it's the first time I heard it, so
that's the first time I heard it too. So therefore, we can celebrate this moment together, Kim.
I'm celebrating it. I tip my hat.
Oh, splendid!
And don't get me wrong, I'm totally for the Timeless Children thing because it really annoys nerds.
It
but
does, I know.
I just thought that the whole Gallifrey again has been destroyed. I'm like, well, we did that once already.
I just like. I'm like, did you really have this plan with the Timeless Children the entire time? I don't know. I don't know if I buy it. I wish that, it had been, like, planted more even towards the end of Series 11.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted it to be that kind of callback of, like, oh, my God. And, because it's like that happened in Ghost Monument, and we never, correct me if I'm wrong, the rest of the series never really heard about the Timeless Children again.
No, nothing.
So it's just like, drop in another hint.
Yeah.
It just feels like, kind of coming out of nowhere. And again, like, he's taken a big swing, and I respect it. Yeah. But, like, trying to tell me that this is, like, part of your 5-year plan, I call...
BS.
Nonsense.
BS, yeah.
For all of Moffat and RTD's faults, and they had a few, they were much better at setting this kind of stuff up.
I don't know about that. I think Moffat had a couple throwaway things here, thinking, I could do that. That's right. I said this throwaway line way back when. I could tie that.
Well, he's also better at making throwaway stuff work, like say
I thought Russell T Davies was the best at it in my opinion.
Yeah, because Bad Wolf just started off as the thing, and then
Bad Wolf,
it became,
and then like the Vote for Sim and Turn Left. Like,
yeah, he is better at it.
Yeah,
he's better at the season long arc.
But I guess what I'm saying is that Moffat's good at retrofitting.
Yeah.
Like he's good at finding stuff and filling in the cracks, whereas here we've just got this thing that kind of happened, got mentioned once, and then it happened.
Like Chibnall kind of like falls in the middle, I guess. I do love this last scene of like her explaining everything.
Like finally.
To the fam.
Yeah.
Feels like it should have maybe happened last season.
In a way, though, I mean, I'm kind of glad that, we've delayed the mystery. I mean, I don't know how much time takes place in between the last, resolution and this, but I
love that she doesn't tell. I love that she doesn't tell them. So there are still, secrets and lies.
And she doesn't blow past it like Tennant does, where he's like, she's just like, nope, another time.
Like it affects
and then
her.
the fam doesn't push her on it at that point either, which is really great. That comes later.
And I like that it just crashes right there. Crashes the ending. Nice.
But a stellar beginning to the series.
Wasn't it, though?
It
Yeah.
So good.
It's a lot better than Tim Shaw. And that's not a bad episode, but Tim Shaw is pretty underwhelming compared to the Master. Or at all, really.
Yeah. That was, I was just blown away at the time watching that. Like, wow, they have really pushed the oars out, so to speak. Yeah.
It's like you got to be excited about Doctor Who again. I mean, I don't really like the next episode. As we're looking at the preview, I didn't really like it.
We just watched this.
Yeah, we spoiler alert.
Not a fan of Orphan 55.
We just recorded that commentary first, as if to get it out of the way. No, not really.
Not a fan.
No.
But they can't all be Spyfall.
Exactly.
And like there are enough. Every television season has some clunkers. You're hard pressed to find a whole season of a show. That's a whole nother podcast of like arguing about perfect seasons.
That's definitely a whole other podcast. But we've enjoyed having you on this one, Kim. Delightful to chat as always. I wish we could do it more in person. Of course, we're on opposite sides of the continent, and Doctor Who conventions aren't the places to be right now. But
and the border is closed at the moment.
The border's closed. You don't want me there.
No
I'm not
offense.
allowed.
No
not
offense.
you specifically, Kim.
Yeah.
None of us are allowed to leave.
We aren't. Where could people find your stuff on the internet?
Our website is www.headoverfeels.com. That's also our Twitter handle. If you are intrigued by my personal handle, it's Drama Kim. We are watching a lot of Lost right now.
Yeah.
Although we'll probably be done by October.
You are ripping through that thing. So October you'll be on to like, I don't know, the West Wing or...
I'm watching the West Wing concurrently,
Oh,
Steven.
okay. So maybe like Starsky and Hutch or something. I don't know.
You're not amateur. Come on.
Yeah.
I have no job, so I'm watching a lot of television.
That's true.
Are you aware of how many seasons of the Rockford Files are on Amazon? I'm just putting that out there.
Just sitting there. James Garner. Tell you what, you want to thirst over Sacha Dhawan? I'm telling you, middle-aged James Garner is where it's at. I'm just saying.
You never know. I do like a silver fox, man. So like, don't throw that away as an impossibility.
Oh, good. Keep it open. All right. Until the next episode that you saw there is Orphan 55. We'll be doing a commentary on that next week. It'll be fun. Trust me, folks. It'll be fun. Until then, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
And Kim in New York City.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.